Human strategies have always been especially known for being excessive. Admiral Talon flipped through several images on the large projection screen behind him. "The Battle of Yavin 5, he said. Humans called it a light bombardment. The image behind him showed 5 battlecruisers in orbit, all firing orbital artillery at the terrorist stronghold known as the Keep at the same time. More than 2 megatons of explosives were dropped over a 50-square-mile area. When asked about the intensity of their method, human ambassadors looked puzzled and replied, "That's just how orbital fire support works." A screenshot of a human news website appeared behind the admiral. The bombing was considered so minor that it was barely even mentioned. Just a small note under another headline. Human volunteers assist in peacekeeping operations. For those who weren't alive 100 years ago, the Keepers of the Sacred Word, as they called themselves, were considered the most dangerous terrorist group the galaxy had seen in over 50 years. To the humans, they were no more than a fly that needed swatting. One of the most famous images ever taken came next. A human soldier standing over the ruins of the city of New Kalanti. A small fleet of frigates hovered over the smoking remains of the city, firing autocannons at anything that dared to move among the debris. Despite the massive destruction, the soldier looked completely calm. Her rifle was slung across her shoulders, and she leaned casually against a tree. Reports say this lone human soldier was part of the first wave of drop troopers who landed near New Kalanti. According to both human and independent sources, she killed at least 57 enemy fighters by herself before being evacuated from the planet shortly after. After this photo was taken, the entire city of New Kalanti, and everything within a 200-mile radius, was turned into glass by nuclear warheads. A new image appeared on the screen. A human lawyer standing in court. The Galactic Council had attempted to charge the humans with war crimes. However, the human lawyer pointed out 2 key facts that caused the case to be dismissed immediately. First, the Galactic Council had officially requested humanity to handle the Kalanti crisis. Second, several deadly viruses had been released from the New Kalanti Biological Research Facility in an effort to force human troops to retreat. The lawyer summed it up clearly, saying, "Humanity had 2 choices: lose one city or risk losing an entire planet. We chose to destroy the city before it could destroy everything else." Admiral Talon paused, took a long sip of water, then continued. "I'd like to remind everyone," he said, "that humans only glassed New Kalanti as a compromise. Originally, the humans had planned to glass the entire continent and place every system within a 15-light-year radius under quarantine to stop the spread of the diseases developed by the Kalanti. Even that plan wasn't considered excessive by human military leaders. At this moment, murmurs began to ripple through the room. One young officer raised her hand to speak. After a small nod of approval from Admiral Talon, she nervously asked, if a 15-light-year quarantine wasn't considered overkill. She paused, swallowed hard, and continued, "Then what was?" Admiral Talon let out a soft laugh and changed the slide behind him. "If only we knew," he said. The room fell into hushed whispers of disbelief. Still smiling faintly, The Admiral looked around at the crowd. A 100 light-year quarantine was proposed as a last resort, but still reasonable course of action. This time the room went completely silent. Noticing he had regained their full attention, the Admiral pressed forward. This entire incident became a warning to the galaxy. It showed that humans see even the most extreme actions as logical and acceptable responses. Because of this, we significantly increased our monitoring of human activities in the following years, decades, and now centuries. What we discovered was both astonishing and deeply revealing. The pictures on the screen started changing rapidly, each showing a different aspect of human activity. From diplomats to engineers and beyond. Images of classified projects, battle fleets, corporate emblems, government seals, and secret dealings filled the screen. Everything imaginable. What you are about to learn is top secret, the Admiral warned. Anyone who leaks this will face a court-martial, and possibly execution. But it's vital you understand this, just to grasp the true nature of the force that is humanity. Once again, the images on the screen changed randomly, until suddenly a video began to play. The lights in the massive meeting hall dimmed completely. What appeared on the screen was nothing short of monumental. Subtitles appeared. A large formation of human military forces is gathered near an unusually massive hypergate. The camera zoomed in and panned slowly to show the full scale. Visible number of human warships. 11,127. JA Officer 1. You ever seen a battle group that size? JA Officer 2. In a history book, maybe. Suddenly, the hypergate began to activate. JA Officer 1. Holy, are you seeing that? The star that the hypergate orbited started to dim as its energy was drained. The camera zoomed in toward the center of the gate. JA Officer 2. Zoom in more right there. That can't be real. JA Officer 1. I've already run diagnostics twice. What we're seeing is accurate. The gate is linked to a galaxy. Analysis confirmed. It was not part of the known Great Band Galaxy. JA Officer 2. Get the Overlord on the line. Immediately. The situation just changed. End of video. Admiral Talon didn't hesitate to explain further. Humanity has always seemed strange, in the way they act, think, and what they're capable of. But now we know, they are truly alien in origin. Further intelligence has revealed something shocking. Humanity is an intergalactic force of nature. They completely control at least 27 galaxies. They have a presence in over 1,700 galaxies. Some estimates place their influence in more than 10,000 galaxies. Picture after picture flashed on the screen. Galactic megastructures, superfleets, massive corporations, political figures, and scientists. There was so much overwhelming information that a few officers in the audience began to feel dizzy. What we're facing, the Admiral continued, is a Type 3 civilization, 100-fold more advanced than we imagined. To them, 1,000,000 stars is nothing, just a drop in the ocean. A 100 light-year quarantine isn't a setback for them. It's just regular procedure. Then the next slide appeared, and everyone in the room, even Admiral Talon himself, flinched. It was a map of the so-called Great Rift of Althor. Just 10 years ago, the Great Rift of Althor had opened, and swallowed an entire star cluster with it. It took the combined efforts of 157 species, including the humans, to prevent the deadly radiation from spreading across a region of 15,000 stars. The next slide thrown up on the screen sent the room into chaos. Admiral Talon had to wait a full minute before his officers even noticed his repeated calls for order. The panic was overwhelming, until silence finally returned, a chilling quiet fueled by sheer terror. "You are now looking," Talon said solemnly, "at what humans define as overkill. This is the final image received from Althor before the rift consumed it entirely." The picture showed a hypergate channel linking human space directly to Althor. Officers could no longer keep their composure. The room erupted. Why would the humans do this? They were our allies. We're doomed, may the stars save us. How could this even be real? The outrage vanished instantly when the next image came up on the screen. A twisted, disfigured being, caught mid-scream in unbearable agony, was displayed in front of them. Within the Althor sector, a terrifying plague had emerged. It only took one infected carrier to wipe out an entire planet. The Council had been monitoring the situation for months. But in the 10 days before the rift opened, 273 planets had gone completely silent. The humans recognized the threat, and even they were afraid. "We begged them for help," the Admiral said, his voice heavy. "And this was their answer." The screen now showed a quasar, a supermassive black hole, active and roaring. Massive human-built constructs were seen around it, channeling the quasar's energy into a concentrated beam of absolute destruction. This was a human hyperweapon, the most devastating device the universe had ever witnessed. They had harnessed the power of a quasar, focused it even more, and deployed it in rare situations where even extreme measures weren't enough. More visuals and data about the disease followed. Humans called it the Scourge, a deadly infection they had unfortunately encountered in multiple galaxies, not just this one. "I say this with complete certainty," Talon added grimly. "This is the only thing I've ever known to make a human admiral physically uneasy." He scanned the room carefully, letting the silence hang before wrapping up his briefing. "I'm sure many of you are now wondering, what should we do with this information? Sadly, I must tell you, this knowledge is useless to all of us. We exist only at humanity's mercy, and they could wipe us out just as easily as they choose to spare us. My final advice to you is this. Humans have consistently shown themselves to be helpful. They show no signs of unnecessary aggression. They sign treaties. They negotiate peace. They meet every standard of a civilized species. But let me be absolutely clear. Under no circumstances should you ever oppose them. Humans know what they're doing, and they possess more than enough firepower to either make us understand, or blind us with it if they wish. What they consider routine is apocalyptic to us. What they see as overkill is complete annihilation to the rest of the galaxy. So I'll put it simply. Don't bring a cruiser to a quasar fight. And most importantly, don't anger the humans.